Hey there, do you want to learn how to edit photos on Instagram so they stand out and generate you more visibility, engagement, followers, likes, money, your bank account, everything? So in this video, I'm going to share with you my entire process, how I edit my pictures so they look like this instead of this. So be sure to keep on watching. But before I dive into this, welcome back to my channel. Jelena Ostrovska here from JelenaOstrovska.com. Super excited to see you here. If you are new and you have not subscribed yet, be sure to consider doing so below this video and hit the bell sign to get notified when every single week the new video goes live. And let's dive into the tutorial. Okay, so I'm about to dive into the tool that I have been using to edit all of my pictures on Instagram, which is called Snapseed. So I have it right here. And all you have to do, it is a free app by the way, so all you have to do is click here to add the photo that you want to add from your phone gallery. And then I'm going to open it from device. I'm going to pull up the picture from my recent trip, so I'm going to go ahead and put it here. So now I'll show you what you can do. So you can use different kind of presets, so already created effects for your images. If you like some of them, by all means go ahead and use them. I don't particularly enjoy all of them. I mean, this one looks pretty good, but it's still not the effect that I want. And then this is the last edit that I actually have done on the picture, which is pretty cool. You can just use the last edit every single time and kind of make your own preset here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it from scratch. So all you have to do is you have to click on Tools and then click on Tune Image at the top right corner. And then here you can see at the top it says Brightness. So when you drag your finger to the right, it's going to increase the brightness and you see the picture changes a lot. And if you drag your finger to the left, then it's obviously going to lower the brightness. So for my pictures personally, I don't necessarily like that kind of effect, so I'm going to show you different ones. So now if you want to navigate around the effects here, all you have to do is either click on the second icon at the bottom. You see that it just turned blue, or you can just hold your finger on the screen and move it up and down. Okay, so now the contrast, this is pretty self-explanatory, but again, it does keep my picture pretty dark. And don't get me wrong, the picture looks already good. However, it kind of looks a little bit dull in my opinion. So it doesn't look, you know how people say, Instagram worthy. So saturation effect usually just makes your skin look kind of orangey. So it's not necessarily an effect that I want for this particular image. And if you just drag it all the way to -100, then it's going to be black and white. So what I want to do, so usually the first effect that I use for my images on Instagram is ambience or ambience, I don't know how you say that, but I'm going to go ahead and move it. I don't always like to have it at 100, you know, +100, and I never use -100 because that's just too dark, so I do like to add a little bit of brightness to the image. And if you want to see how your picture looked before and after, obviously right now you can see the after, but before I just tap the screen and it shows me how it looked like before, right? So I'm going to keep this setting on +50 and we're going to move on. So highlights, this just makes the picture more white. I don't always like that, so I'm going to add the highlights so it's actually a little bit darker and you can see how much of a difference it makes. So it does add the shadows that are not as visible on the image. And then shadows, or highlights was the first one. Now the shadows. The shadows usually, if you move it all the way to the left, it's just going to be super dark. You see my shirt, it like looks nearly black, which is not exactly what I want. So the shadows here, I can either drag them to like, and I don't necessarily like 100, so 75, that looks pretty good. You see the before and then the after, like way brighter, because my face looks kind of dark because of the sun not being in the right place, and then the shirt, and now this looks way brighter and more, you know, just stands out more. So warmth, I usually don't do anything because this just makes the picture look orange as a whole, and you can see it makes a big of a difference. And then again, over here, it just makes the whole thing blue. If that's your thing, if you have bluer accounts, then you may want to use that. I don't particularly use this one, this effect. So then I'm gonna hit done, and then there's another, which the picture is already looking much better than it was before. But in general, what I do is I go over to the tools, and by the way, you can use all of these tools that you want. It's just not something that I do for every single image, so I have, you know, the standard procedure that I do for every picture. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and choose HDRscape. HDRscape. So, and here, again, the same settings. If you want to drag this filter, make it stronger, you drag your finger to the right. If you want to make it less, then you drag your finger to the left. So, and then you can adjust your brightness and saturation by dragging your finger up or down. So, now here with this effect, there are different things that you can do. So you can either make it for the nature, which, see, like if I choose people, it doesn't necessarily touch my face, which is what I'm looking for. If I make it fine, this just makes my picture look like very much 2015, because I remember people editing their images like this for Instagram back in the days. And if you make it strong, this is just too much. So I do choose people, and then 25, that looks pretty good. Now, here's something extra that you can also do with the images that I generally do. If you do not like a particular piece, if you sometimes feel like your face looks a little bit too orangey, or your jeans color is not as bright, because if you make all of these effects on a picture where you're wearing something white, a lot of the times it does, you know, kind of distort the color. Like I have another picture with me wearing blue jeans, and they start to look a little bit blue. So I'm like, that's not necessarily what I want. So what you can do is you can go over to the tools, and you can hit brush, and you want to make sure that it says dodge and burn, and then I just make it, instead of +10, I make it +5, and then I can just zoom in on the image, and I can see that, hold on, so I want to go over to my hair, and I want to make it a little bit brighter so it doesn't look as orange, and all I have to do is I just drag that brush over my hair, and you'll see how it's going to change. I can do this as much as I want, but I don't want to overdo it, which I feel like I overdid it a little bit. So as you can see, here's the before picture, and here's the after. So actually then my scalp looks a little bit brighter, so I may want to adjust that. But that's how you make it. All you have to do next is just hit export and save a copy so you don't lose the original file, and then you are done. So there you go. So far I shared with you my entire step-by-step process on editing my Instagram pictures. So that's something that you can emulate for your own Instagram account and figure out what kind of look you want to create. So with that being said, be sure to check out these two videos right here on the Instagram growth, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.